Hey Internet, it's Gunter with MiniMishaps Games, and today we are going to be looking at what it would be like for Ant-Man to be in the GetherVerse. We are back to my favorite series. I love translating systems and inputting characters or imagining what our favorite fantasy, sci-fi, nerdy characters would be like in a tabletop role-playing scenario. And so today, because of Quantumania, we are going to be looking at the character of Ant-Man. And then I asked the Mid-Journey AI to generate images of what we were imagining. So immediately, Ant-Man, I thought in the F.I.S.T.S and M.I.N.D.S system, there is an Insectid. And an Insectid seems like it would be a perfect fit. I found out that the Insectid is neuronics and strategy based, which was kind of a non-match for me. I don't think of the Scott Lang Antman as being the brains of the group or the strategist of the group. And likewise, although it does have hive strategy, there is another Ant-Man that seems like they would fit the neuronics strategy and hive capabilities, and that is Hank Pym. So we got an accidental character identification, and so Hank Pym would be in the GetherVerse, perhaps an Insectid field manipulator, which I think would be a really good match. So the two ways that you can generate characters, aside from completely random, in the F.I.S.T.S and M.I.N.D.S system, is you can start with a concept, which is what we just did there. I said an Insectid, naturally because of Ant-Man. But then when we checked the stats, it wasn't a match the way we wanted. And the other way is to start with the stats and then see what comes out of the generation of the stats. So flexibility is the first one, because in the traits and mind system that handles things like dodging, and the shrinking power is definitely a dodging ability that he uses in the movie lots of times. Impact, which is how much damage you can do. They reference several times the PSI of the ant suit being able to hit like a bullet. So impact seemed like a good match there. And then I did skill, because that's your dexterous, and in the case of Scott Lang, the lockpicking and the cat burglaring would be under skill. So that's why I chose that one. And then magic, because the GetherVerse doesn't have technology, so anything that is overly technological is going to either be magic or neuronics or divinity. And of the three, he's not programming the suit. He's not having to do mechanics on the suit as much as the suit does magic, with regards to it's not really understood by the user how or why it happens. And then his magical keyword that he'd get for his point of magic would be the resize keyword, which that seems pretty obvious for Ant-Man, that having magical capabilities that cause things to shrink or grow, that's right, a perfect match. So we have flexibility, impact, skill, and magic. So there are 6 ways to combine these traits, because you get 2 from the peoples and 2 from the class. And so we're going to go through each of these 6 and try and find the one that's the best match. First up, we have the Cephaloid Rune Fighter, and a Cephaloid is essentially a Mind Flayer from Dungeons & Dragons, but without any psychic powers. It's just an octopus or cephalopod-based humanoid, animalian. And then a rune fighter is someone that puts runes on their weapons or uses them magically. And this was not a perfect match, especially once I got to generating this image from the AI, which sort of looks like an elephant Cthulhu as a Roman soldier. But so that pretty quick settled it for me that was not going to be the one that matched. Next up, we have a Dwarven Carnival Caster, and this one, before I generated the AI, was pretty excited about, because on the Dwarf side, you had in the movie when he's in the school in the sweatshirt and he's half resized, and then you have the Carnival Caster. He does all the actual like card trick sleight of hand magic. So again, we came to the AI, and it slowed down my enthusiasm for this one just a little bit. But it also, Scott doesn't have that like awareness of metals and mining that the dwarf here gets from the peoples, and doesn't have the big top barking. He's not really a carnival announcer entertainer type. But the AI just turned out really cool, but pretty dark and pretty evil looking. Although I love, it looks like the necklace here is maybe a D20, but I love the extra hand randomly that the AI gave him. Either way, that's the Dwarven Carnival Caster. Next we have Liquidian Bullseye Arm, and this one again. Now he does throw the little disc several times, like in Civil War, where he hits the tanker, and different things where he's throwing the shrink and grow discs. And so that is a point for Bullseye Arm, but the and the Liquidian, actually, he has from the Liquidian would get the Pour Me Out ability, which essentially allows it to pass through small openings, and that's the same as shrinking and growing. Another one that the AI wasn't an exact match with, but we have basically a liquid silver Robin Hood here. Alright, the Gnome Spar Striker. Now a Spar Striker is essentially an MMA fighter, and again here, starting with the mech language seems like it's more someone who is technically, mechanically savvy, and then also the cross-equivocal macrocerebral metamagilogical hyperlinguosis. This is where I thought that immediately, and then the AI confirmed my thoughts, which was that this would be a great match for Hope Van Dyne the Wasp. The cross-equivocal ability that I listed essentially means that they can confuse other characters, and there are a multitude of times throughout the movies that Hope confuses Ant-Man, and that ability just seemed to really match, along with the mechanical side of knowing the suits and the suit maintenance and how they work and those kinds of things. So we are going to say that we have found another accidental character, and that Hope Van Dyne is a good match for the Gnome Spar Striker. So we have two characters from this movie series, and not the one we're looking for yet. So we're going to keep going. Next up, this is I'm sorry, this is just silly. Igneoid Microcontortionist. Essentially, there's not a lot to say here. A rock person that is also essentially a Cirque du Soleil performer. And when you put that prompt into the AI generator, you get this image, which looks more like Shrek to me, but I think I put in Marvel Korg as the reference in Cirque du Soleil. And so here it is, the rock person looks like in Cirque du Soleil. I don't know, that I didn't, I was too entertained. I had to share this. I didn't bother trying to find something that was more accurate, since it already wasn't a match for Scott there. But if we were looking for what if Cord was in Cirque du Soleil or Shrek was Cord, there you go. And we ended, last but not least, with hitting the home run alphabetically. We have the Wobblemur, which is essentially an anthropomorphic tarsier. Big eyeballs, kind of almost like a lemur. And then Item Tinker, which really, it sounds like it's intellectual, but in the skills that it gives you, it's actually magic and skill, which we went over was the shrinking, but then skill being more like the cat burglar and that kind of set of skills. So plus the ability make or break, which essentially just is what Scott uses the shrink and grow things for. He often breaks the things or makes the things work. So then, of course, when I went to the AI generator, it was perfect. And there he is, drinking a coffee, ready to put on the rest of the Ant-Man suit. So Wobblemur Item Tinker is going to be our match for Ant-Man. So this was super fun, and if you enjoyed my delving into the Fists and Minds system to get some stats for our favorite nerdy and pop culture characters, put in the comments what characters, series, movies that you'd like to see characters from. It can be anything, video games, literature, and we'll see what we can do there. But I think that I would trust this this group with saving the quantum multiverse. But that's it. Thank you guys so much for staying until the end, and we will see you guys in the next video. Thanks, Internet.